Preston North End have activated their option to buy Alfie Devine. Alan Shearer on Tottenham moving for Andy Robertson. Fabrizio Romano stated on Friday, here we go, Marcus Senesi to Tottenham. Here we have your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel and to another edition of the Daily Tottenham News Headlines, where I'll be going through all the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. My name's Leader Dorset Spur. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to this on an audio platform, please hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Okay, so here's the main stories today. The Lancashire Post have reported that Preston North End have activated their option to buy Alfie Devine and now face crunch talks with the player. The midfielder spent last season on loan from the Lily Whites and had a strong individual campaign, scoring 8 goals and assisting with as many across 48 appearances. Preston North End inserted a buy option in the loan agreement with Spurs, and personal terms were said to have been pre-agreed. The fee is thought to be in excess of £5 million. North End planned to spread their payments, but it would still see the club more than double its transfer record. However, Devine still has the final say on any move this summer, and whilst discussions are scheduled for next week, he is under no pressure to rush into a decision. Alan Shearer Tottenham moving for Andy Robertson. I think there's no doubt Robertson going to Spurs is a good move for both him and Tottenham. His experience, his know-how, he's still got great ability. I think pound for pound, he's probably one of the best signings in the Premier League. I think it will be about £8 million. Reports in Portugal are stating an agreement has been reached between João Palhinha and Sporting. The Portuguese side have to convince Bayern Munich to find a financial solution to make the transfer possible this summer. Football.London have stated it is expected that Tottenham will sign a new striker this summer, and Richarlison is linked with a move out of the club as his contract reaches its final year. Italian journalist and transfer expert Fabrizio Romano stated on Friday, here we go, Marcus Senesi to Tottenham on a free transfer. TalkSport on this story have reported that Marcus Senesi will sign a 4-year deal at Tottenham. Manchester United, Juventus and Atletico Madrid were also keen on signing the Argentina international, but Spurs have won the race. Reports in Italy are stating Tottenham Hotspur in signing the Mexican international striker Santiago Gimenez. The player could be on a move after the World Cup, and Tottenham is hoping to sign him. The 25-year-old has struggled for regular opportunities at AC Milan, and he has scored just 1 goal in all competitions this season. Spurs centre-back Luka Vušković, who spent the 25-26 season on loan at Hamburg, has been talking in an interview with Nova TV. On Tottenham boss Roberto De Zerbi, he said, I think he's a top-class coach. He likes attacking football, he likes build-up play, and I really like that. I hope we'll work together in the future. When asked, is it possible that he could return to Hamburg next season on loan again, he said, playing with my brother at Hamburg will be a dream, and a dream come true for me, but it's hardly possible. I don't know what else to say except it's impossible. The Independent have reported that Tottenham Hotspur have reviewed their interest in Nottingham Forest and England star Morgan Gibbs-White. So, loads and loads of rumours and all that kind of stuff going around. Well, let's start off talking about Alfie Devine. I think it's absolutely clear that Alfie Devine doesn't seem to be getting anywhere near the Tottenham squad. So for me, I think for his personal benefit, and I think for the club, it's best to let him move on. And if Preston North End are the team that want him and he can fit in there, then it makes perfect sense. I don't see him being able to get into the Spurs team. He's been out on loan several times and doesn't seem to be getting anywhere near it. So for me, I think, it's pointless us keeping players on loan just for the sake of keeping a player on the books. Unless, of course, Roberto De Zerbi sees him and thinks, yeah, this is a player for us. So maybe he comes back, gets a little bit of time with De Zerbi, and De Zerbi looks at him against what he's already got and says, yeah, he's better. But I can't see it, to be honest. Andy Robertson going to Tottenham. I think it makes perfect sense for me. It gives us some experience of winning stuff, Premier League experience, a little bit of leadership and so on and so forth. It's a no-brainer for me. I'm not sure where the 8 million comes from. I'm pretty sure it's a free transfer. But listen, Alan Shearer's probably a lot closer to this sort of stuff than I am. So let's kind of go with what Alan says and see where we go from there. Disappointed with the story about João Palhinha going to Sporting. I understand that from a personal point of view, he wants to go back to Portugal for family reasons. If that's the case, then obviously, that makes sense for him. But it's disappointing for us because I think he's been integral for Spurs this season, keeping us in the Premier League. I think without him, we wouldn't have got there. He scored against Wolves. He scored against Everton on the final day to get us to stay up. I think his experience, his leadership, and his mental attitude have been key. I'm not saying that he should be our regular, in there every game and so on and so forth, but I think he is a great guy to have in your locker. So I don't know, but if it's a personal thing and he wants to go, then obviously I don't want a player who doesn't want to be at the club. That's for sure. Various reports in Italy are stating that Spurs centre-back Radu can leave the club for a fee of around 15 to 20 million pounds. Well, Radu Vušković has been spoken about so many times. I think his agent is pimping him out all over the place. I personally think if Vušković is coming back and we're looking at Marcus Senesi and so on, then I think maybe it's time for him to move on and give someone else the headache of his agent, to be quite honest. Tottenham looking to sign a new striker and Richarlison to move. Yeah, okay. No shock there. Richarlison, even though he was our top goal scorer, likely to leave in the summer, pretty much like the top goal scorer in Johnson and Son and Kane all leaving. Seems like our top goal scorer always leaves. But yeah, Richarlison is not the long term, is he? I mean, I like the guy. I like him around the club. I think as a bit part player, as a squad man, I could kind of see him, playing a part. But with his contract getting closer and all the rest of it, and we really need an upgrade. We've got to get somebody in who can score goals in the Premier League. For me, I think we need someone who's proven, someone who's proven in the Premier League. I'm not sure that Richarlison's it. Solanke, he doesn't seem to be it either. And obviously Kolo Muani being on loan, and we know what's happened with him. It seems like a new striker is really, really important. Fabrizio Romano, here we go on Marcus Senesi. Well, if that's the case, it's been rumoured for a while. It was rumoured before the end of the season and so on, provided we stayed up. So it feels like this has got legs to it. So Premier League proven, Argentina international and so on. So again, seems like a no-brainer, especially with Dragusin potentially moving on. We don't know what's happening with Romero or with Van der Ven. So, you've got to have good options in that centre-back position. So, again, makes sense. Not sure about this reports around Santiago Gimenez. One goal doesn't sound very good, does it? And hasn't had opportunities at AC Milan. I don't know. I can't say I know enough about the player to say yes, it's a good move or it isn't a good move. I guess if he can come to Spurs and bang some goals in, then fantastic. It's worth seeing if how he gets on. Maybe at the World Cup. I don't know. I haven't seen him. I don't really know an awful lot about him, but it's definitely we need another striker. So could he be the man? I don't know. You guys probably know more about him than I do. So leave us the comments in the comment section and let us know what you think about that. If that's an option or not for us. Luka Vušković looks like for me that he's coming back to Spurs. And he's saying it's impossible for him to play with his brother and so on and so forth. So maybe he's staying at Spurs and not going back to Hamburg. We'll see how that goes. You know, he's had a really good season over there and played really, really well. You know, whilst he's still a young man, he's got a lot of maturity in him. And I think it would be really good to see what he can do in the Premier League. Give him a season and see how he progresses. Because until he's tested, we won't know whether he's any good or not. So I'm sure De Zerbi will be able to give his view on that. And obviously he knows what he's doing. So let's see. But I'm sure in the summer or after the summer, when we get into pre-season, we'll get to see what De Zerbi thinks of him. And finally, Morgan Gibbs-White shows its head again. I think this one will divide the fan base. He had the opportunity to come. He chose to shun us and sign a new deal with Nottingham Forest. Created a little bit of a stir between Forest and Spurs with the owner there. So I don't know. I mean, I like Gibbs-White. I think he's a good player. You know, I would like to have seen him sign for Spurs, obviously. But is it too late? Is that a step too far? I don't know. It is. For me, I guess if De Zerbi wants him, then I'm happy for it. I think that the club are still going down this path of the club making the decisions. But I think with De Zerbi, I think he's the one who has to give the okay. I think he has to say what he really wants. But Gibbs-White is a decent player in my views. He played well for Forest this year. Part of the reason why they did so well in the end in the league, you know, confirming their status in the Premier League before we did, and so on. But does he want to come? Did he really want to come before? And was there issues that stopped him? I think all will be revealed one day, if this season when he moves to Spurs, or one day in his autobiography, we'll find out the whole truth about it, won't we? So, but that's it for today. That's all the news and reports that I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for watching and listening. You know, if you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on an audio platform, please follow and leave a review if you can. I'm leader Dorset Spur. I do have my own channel, so if you'd like to pop over and have a look at that, I would be very grateful to have you along there. Try to do daily bits and pieces, uploads and stuff like that. Looking forward to the new season where we can get a bit more into it with some live streams and some post-match analysis and so on. But yeah, as I say, thanks very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. All that's left to say is I'll see you on the next one, and as always, up the Spurs.